Well, we had a storm earlier this morning come through, and got some lightning, good heavy rain, that kind of thing. But, you know, nothing terrible. But the power's been off for what? How long? A couple hours?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can see now there's not like even a cloud in the sky. So, I don't get it. So, we couldn't do anything at home, so we said, well, let's head out and we'll go for a beach walk. Tide should be right, and at least it's something to do. Well, the sun's out. People from 1648 are gonna head to the beach. Well, I just heard a generator, so it's unlikely the power's back. What on earth happened? I don't know. Must have, I guess, some lightning strike someplace, hit something, and I don't know. It's down here. Or maybe the electric lines got wet in the rain and they don't work until they dry it. I don't know. But I was really hoping it was going to be back on so we could have a shower this morning. Okay, do you see this? There's 2, 4, 6, 8 signs right here at the entrance to the old Club Med place.
Spanish Wells.
Another, there's a charter boat, souvenirs, something.
True
Charters.
Captain Kidd.
Most of these are from up in Spanish Wells. Now, I mean, seriously. I don't know. I think
junking up the island.
Right. The more of that you end up getting, it's just going to be a problem.
And then, if you're driving by, you're not going to be able to read that.
You have to actually stop and see that. Well, we were going to go for an afternoon swim, and we went to, well, basically 3 places. And they were all packed with people, so we said, nope, don't think so. So there's still a ton of people on the island. And you know, I think that trend is going to continue for a while, but I do have concerns for the island. Just because of, you know, how many of these people have come because of us, probably some, but how many of these people have come because those other places that were wiped out in hurricanes last year, they couldn't go there. But now that those are being rebuilt, are they going to go back to those places or are they going to stay here? I have no answer on that one. And the other thing that gives me pause is what happens, and nobody looks at these things here, what happens if there was, and there's a lot of indicators that in the next year or so there could be another recession. What happens in a global one, not just a US one? So what happens if that scenario plays out? I don't know. You know, it's one of those things that unfortunately Bahamians aren't big planners. You know, it's like, what are you going to do tomorrow? I don't know. We'll see tomorrow. And it's really not a great way to do things, but that's the way they've always done it. And then when it doesn't work out, they try to figure out another solution. Or they go back into survival mode, and right now, you know, those signs I showed you, to me, when you start putting up signs all over the place like that, it means that there's been more and more businesses opened, and more competition, and there's not enough people to fill that. So it'll end up going in a circle where he who has the staying power will be able to, you know, withstand, and the other guys who have popped up will disappear. But in the meantime, you know, there's only one pie, and the pie has grown, but there's still only one pie, and now there's more people taking pieces out of the pie. So it'll be an interesting to see what happens, and even though we won't be here, we'll know what's happening. So we talked about just you know, when we were out in the signs and tourism and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things around here is that there needs to be, and I don't think there will be, a lot more creative thinking. It's one of those places where if you opened up, suppose you opened up a hot dog stand, and that's all you sold was hot dogs, and people started seeing you getting plenty of business. All of a sudden, you'd see hot dog stands all over the place because, oh, you're doing well, I'm going to have one of those. Instead of saying, okay, what is it that I could do that would attract other people? Everybody here just looks at what everybody else has done. They're successful at it. They do it. And when they do it, then, of course, that diminishes what can be spread around. You know, if you've got, I don't know, we'll just say 50 people, and those 50 people want a hot dog, and they're going to come get it from you for convenience or whatever. But now there's 6 hot dog places. You spread it all out. So, you know, the pie is basically the tourism dollars that come in. And there's got to be more creative thinking. It's like, you know, these pigs. There's pigs up north. I'm surprised we don't have pigs over here someplace. Pigs worked for Exuma, and now there's pigs up north, or you can go ride with go personally having raised pigs. No, it's not that thrilling to go see a pig. They're very smart and everything else, but still. There's pigs over, where was it? There was some little island. I can't remember which one. I mean, and I'm talking little island, like no fresh water, no shade, little hut that people had put, and then they'd take them on a boat to go see the pigs. Yeah, it's, you know, ridiculous. So there's got to be a lot more creative thinking, and that sort of leads into the, you know, the policies here of immigration and stuff. Without a lot of other outside thinking of things that you could do, it just becomes the same old, same old, same old. Now there's a couple that she's Bahamian, he's not. They lived away for many years. They came and they started a food truck. And, you know, even when you talk to them, their thinking was that it would be mostly foreigners or white people. Bahamians as a whole wouldn't, but they do. They love it. So they're always flat out busy. It was a gamble, yes, but they do very well at it. So there's got to be more of those kind of things that are going to attract people. And without those outsiders, or without Bahamians traveling and seeing other things and getting other experiences to say, hey, wait a minute, I wonder if this would work back on Eleuthera. You end up stuck with the same old all the time, because there's not a fresh way of looking at something. You know, like I've said before, you know, we're going to be doing coffee. It will happen here. You'd be very early if you started something like that, but if you had the funds and you could combine it with something else, I think you could probably do very well with it. Of course, once you did it, then everybody else would want to do it too. But you know, if you could offer something that's better at a better price point and all that kind of stuff, then you'd still do perfectly fine. So you know, that one pie, and when everybody starts doing the same thing, it just diminishes what's in the pie, and that's, to me, what's evident with these signs going up all over the place. Any place you go now, you're starting to see signs tacked on trees all over the place, and that just means that they're trying to get more and more pieces of the pie, because now there's more people doing that operation, and they're getting less customers. And again, you know,
rotisserie chicken.
yeah, well, I mean, you know, we've told tons of people around here, and you know, if you're watching this from the U.S., I don't think you can go into a grocery store where you can't buy a pre-made rotisserie chicken. Not pre-made, pre-cooked. And there's none of that here. None. It would go over. I mean, chicken is king.
You could have one of those in every settlement.
Right. And you'd have tons of people coming. And they would buy locals would buy it, tourists would buy it, and you'd make chicken. You could expand after that if you wanted to, and you know, have coleslaw by the pound, potato salad by the pound. And I grant you, as soon as you do that, there's going to be 5 more that come down the road and that are going to do it too, because that's just the way it is. Instead of saying, okay, well, they're doing chicken, we'll do spare ribs, or let's do I don't know, but you know, you've got to start thinking in terms of different stuff. And if you don't get out of here, then you don't see those other things, and it's the people who come from other places are the ones that spend the money, and they're used to those other type of things, like better coffees, a rotisserie chicken that they can pick up someplace and have for dinner that night because they don't really feel like cooking and they don't really feel like going out to eat. You know, and in that chicken scenario, I mean, I had already talked to Bahamas Food Services, which is a division of Cisco, and they're over in Nassau. And the guy who's up there, he said, yeah, it's not a problem. We can get you any size chicken, you know, whole chickens you want, so you can price them at whatever price points you want. And we can even help get you a, you know, the rotisserie thing. But does anybody do it? No. Eventually somebody will do it. But by then, like I said, once one does it, the next one does it. You could have a sausage sandwich place. That's all you do, is you make sausage sandwiches. Absolutely wonderful. But that's how it is here. And I think that immigration doesn't let the new ideas, because the foreigners can't do businesses here, or they make it so hard and so complicated and so much money involved that it's prohibitive. And then, heaven forbid, you start a business with a Bahamian. I'd say probably 9 times out of 10, if you partner with your average Bahamian and it's a success, you'll be out of business, because in those scenarios, as a general rule, you're 49%, they're 51%. So, but there needs to be more thinking so the pie has more substance to it. Right now, the pie is here. You can't keep dividing it up. That's how it goes.